What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a video today where we're going to be looking at Sasho Andreev of Bulgaria up against Irakli Zirakashvili of Georgia, who will be facing each other at East vs West 12 on April 20 for the 95 kilo right arm world title. Now, of course, that world title is held by Sasho Andreev at the moment, and it's Irakli Zirakashvili who is hunting him. Some 2 years ago they did face, and it was Sasho who got the victory that day 4-1. But since then, Irakli has gone on a bit of a tear. He's been up at that 105 kilo mark, and he's been looking incredibly dominant. Now he comes back down to 95 kilos with the self-belief that he can get the job done. So, ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, what we are going to do is we're going to break down a bit of their last match. We're going to have a look at where this match could possibly go, compare some of the changes that have been made since then, talk about their vulnerabilities and their strengths that they both bring to the table, and ultimately try to make sense of where this match is going to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sasho Andreev, the championship title of East versus West. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Irakli Zirakashvili.
Here we go, guys. Irakli Zirakashvili, absolute stud.
All right, guys, so this match is a battle of styles. Hook versus top roll. Sasho Andreev may well be the shortest arm wrestler in the world. Well, at least that is packing this degree of power. There may be some guys in the lighter weight categories, but let's be realistic. At his weight, Sasho Andreev, there's no one else like him. He is incredibly compact, incredibly powerful, and incredibly committed to inside pulling. Now, he will be looking to absolutely get the bone line involved, supination involved, and take this match into the side pressure lane as quickly as possible. Now, Irakli, of course, the exact opposite. He's a top roll specialist, loves bicep training and back pressure, explosive pronation. I mean, he comes from that Georgian camp where bicep strength is such a big thing. And that's what makes this match particularly interesting, is that these two guys really come from the opposite ends of the spectrum and the style and the tactics that they will bring to the table. So this really is exciting. Sorry, choking on my words there. This really is an exciting match for the fans of pure arm wrestling. This classic hook versus top roll. All right, so here we can see the match from 2 years ago. Irakli on the left of screen, Sasha on the right. Let's have a look. Now, it was this first round where Irakli had great success. He gets his wrist line and his pronation outside of the pinky of Sasho Andreev, and that allowed him to get the side pressure. Come round two, Sasho had felt the lane. He knew where the top roll was, and he had a much higher wrist flexion-based side pressure off the go. That really limited, and it sort of contained Irakli's back pressure and pronation, and it allowed Sasho to do what he does best, which is get his match into the side pressure lane. Irakli is able to defend for some time. It'll be interesting to see if he does that again come this match, because this may have been something that fatigued him ultimately in this match back here. But anyway, one apiece right now. Now, Irakli on the better side of the strap buckle, he has a decent chance of getting it away. But once again, Sasho Andreev able to curl in, supinate slightly, and really commit that shoulder to where he's adding a lot of side pressure. Now, again, Irakli gallantly defending and looking to try to chip through the hand of Sasha Andreev, but it's really his ability to relentlessly just apply side pressure that actually protects his hand. Unlike most people who have a longer arm, they can't apply that same degree of side pressure. And Irakli just unable to withstand that relentless and continuous side pressure from the Bulgarian Sasho Andreev. Now, 2-1 it is for Sasho at this point in the match outside of the straps. Now, let's see how they go. Off to the straps is not an issue. Sasho Andreev not interested in holding on outside of the straps. But once in the straps, you can see that bulldozing side pressure now starting to get on top of Irakli. And it was now 3-1. And by the time it gets to this round, it's pretty much a formality. The bicep is being gassed on Irakli. Sasho's side pressure is starting to run away and get completely dominant. And it's all pretty much a formality. Just start him and it will be over, I'm sure. There it is, into the hook and done. Okay, so let's first talk about Sasho Andreev. He's such a unique and interesting arm wrestler. Like I said, he is the shortest arm wrestler within the professional arm wrestling world at this level. He is such a supinated, shoulder-committed, side pressure-based arm wrestler that he has taken his biomechanical situations and he's turned them into advantages. He's very efficiently identified what his opportunities are, what his vulnerabilities are, and he's gone all in very intelligently. Now, the most unique thing about Sasho is that he protects his hand by committing shoulder-based side pressure. Now, he's not a presser. Don't mistakenly think that he's going to come out and press. He does not press. He sits very high on his tricep. He supinates what he can. If his wrist goes slightly, that's okay with him because he protects his ability to not have his wrist taken further by committing not elbow-based side pressure, but shoulder-based side pressure. You'll see that Sasha really throws his whole shoulder into every arm wrestle that he is redlining in, and it's that shoulder-based commitment that actually it uses up his opponent's fuel in the sense that they can't spend time attacking the hand and wrist any longer because there's this side pressure that must simply be addressed. Sasho has identified that because he is so much shorter. His elbow to wrist is so much more compact than any of his opponents, and therefore he has a greater amount of force that he can impart in that side pressure lane. He uses it so incredibly well, particularly in the straps. It's what he used against Irakli last time, and it's what I expect him to do this time as well. He has the luxury of being the guy that won this match last time. He's the guy who has the luxury of knowing he had not only sufficient strength to win, but sufficient strength to run away with it and be rather dominant by rounds 3, 4, and 5. It didn't look like it was a close match. So he knows that Irakli is going to do something different. He knows that Irakli is going to have to have increased and closed a strength gap if he's to have any chance. So Sasha will go into this match feeling very confident that he can just simply force the same lanes that he forced last time. So I don't expect Sasha to really change anything in his tactics. I expect him to be slipping outside of straps. He's not going to hold on. He's going to get in straps. He's going to quarter turn his wrist. He's going to have strong fingers, and he's going to add a lot of side pressure with that shoulder. Now, an interesting vulnerability of Sasho Andreev is something that most of his opponents are simply too afraid to even try. Now, what I'm talking about is something that it really does scare away the opponents. I'm talking about coming almost inside on Sasho Andreev. Sasho Andreev is committed to the side pressure lane. Let's be clear about that. People tend to try to top roll Sasho. Not many people are happy to just go hook on hook with Sasho. It's a one-way trip to a loss, and most people do not want to end up in a supinated battle simply because of the length of Sasho's lever allows him to get far greater power in that position. But the vulnerability to Sasho is someone who is willing to cross the line of his rotation, actually come forward before going back. People who run from Sasho just continuously, they get caught in his side pressure lane. He can arm wrestle flat-wristed, and he knows that he has great endurance there as well. But truly, the vulnerability to him is to turning his palm up, not just allowing his supination to become a blocking force, but actually crossing over into a high hook before attempting to top roll. People that do this to Sasho are going to sort of have to jump into the fire first, but there is a reward there, and that reward there is you control Sasho's thumb before imparting side pressure. Now, what that will do is will disengage Sasho from his supinated side pressure. He will have a defensive hold still in a bicep sense, but he won't be able to go sideways because his thumb condition will be changing. And the rule of side pressure is you must secure your hand and wrist. And all I mean by that is your hand and wrist needs to be in a state of stability for you to go sideways. If you try to go sideways and your hand is not stable and it starts to change as you go sideways, that tends to derail an arm wrestler. And so Sasho is very comfortable supinating and getting stable. But a high hook before a top roll does open up the opportunity for his thumb to change as he tries to go sideways. That is Sasho's vulnerability. Is Irakli going to go there? I have no idea. But that's how I read it. I don't think Sasha's that vulnerable to people just trying to out-and-out top roll him. He's so experienced. He's so good. He was so dominant there last time. He's not vulnerable to someone coming into a classical hook. That's clearly his lane. The only spot is that high hook followed by a very smooth and efficient and strong transition to a top roll. Okay, so now let's talk about Irakli Zirakashvili, the man who is hunting the world title, who lost it last time. He really has to change something. We know that he can't just simply do what he did last time. It did not work. So, is Irakli stronger? Maybe he is. Look, no doubt he was stronger when he went up to 105, but this back down at 95 kilos, is he stronger? Look, time will only tell. We'll see on the day. But if he's stronger and he sticks to his low hand top roll, the strength gap does need to have increased significantly for him, or it needs to have closed, significantly for him. His low hand top roll, his ace, wasn't good enough against Sasha last time. Okay, he gets his wrist away. Like in round one, we saw it. He got the pin. But the reason he got the pin then was Sasho just hadn't yet felt the shape and didn't apply his shoulder side pressure efficiently, was unable to get the connection to get the block on. From all rounds then after that, he'd felt it. And even though Irakli had the same low hand setup for every round, it was one-way traffic. So if Irakli is to go with the same low hand, drop the wrist, he's looking to get this part of his wrist clear of Sasho's pinky. You'll see pinky fingers above the wrist line is where Irakli is going to dictate. That's going to allow him to pop that out and potentially top roll. But like I said, I don't think that that's where the success is going to come for Irakli. Now, is Irakli aware of this, or is Irakli going to just try to do that again and simply be stronger? I think and I hope that Irakli actually comes at it differently. I think that the strategy that Irakli needs to employ, I mentioned it in Sasho's vulnerabilities, is he needs to come this way before going that way. If he goes straight this way, it's just into the lane we've seen before. So the tactics that I would expect Irakli to use in order to give himself the best chance of this match is he needs to obviously threaten the top roll so Sasho does his classical supinated containment shape. But when Sasho does this, there's an opportunity to do that. Okay, it's a very subtle opportunity and you don't want to go too far that you end up in a hook with Sasho. But as Sasho does his supinated defense, rise and pronate and punch through center and add a little bit of your own side pressure. Take some ground on center before hitting the top roll. If you do that, instead of being open and on your own bicep as a top roll against side pressure, you are in this position where you've gone across, you've engaged, and you've got some pec and some inner elbow and some actual side pressure control in your opponent's hand instead of being open. This allows for so much more potential to rise and pivot and supinate and control, can open, and just it's a much more sturdy position. It's not a position where your arm is open and you're defending with just your bicep and ultimately getting gassed by Sasha's side pressure. So this is what I'm expecting from Irakli. I'm expecting the updated version. I'm expecting the bravery to try something different. I'm expecting him to come at this with a little bit of a high hook punch followed by that explosive top roll that we all know he has. Okay, so what is Irakli's weakness in this? Well, it's fear. It's truly fear and defaulting back into just what he did last time. Look, you have to always respect that all arm wrestlers are training. All arm wrestlers are getting stronger. And Sasho Andreev, as the world champion, would be doing exactly that. He's not sitting back. He hasn't pressed pause on his progress, and he's not where he was 2 years ago. Much like Irakli has progressed, Sasha has as well. It is because of that that it would be a terrible idea for Irakli to simply try to do what he did last time, but only harder, only stronger. That would be a mistake. And I think it's fear that will cause him to do that. Fear of the unknown, feeling of that other alternative shape, which in fact is going to be where the reward is. It's fear that will force Irakli to go back into what he did before. Now, Irakli is a very experienced arm wrestler. He's been around. He's been on many, many big stages. He knows what it is to compete at the high level. He knows what it is to taste the pressure. He knows what it is to try to right the wrong of a previous loss, and he would have felt it last time where the lane was and where the lane wasn't. The question is, can he be brave enough to actually do it again, to try and actually step into the unknown? Because let's be real, Irakli has to use a move that is not his ace off the go. He can combine it with his ace as it transitions back to his top roll, but the initiation pressure must be different. And to do that requires a big, I don't know, it's a big leap of faith. It's a big stomach full of courage to actually initiate with a direction that you are not familiar with, that you are not well practiced in, and has not been the reason for so much of your success in your career. Look, Irakli may just be too strong. He may use his classical shape, and I could be completely wrong, but I'd be surprised if that was the case. So Irakli's biggest vulnerability is fear. Okay, so one final comparison. For those who think that I've been leaning too heavily towards Sasho Andreev for this match, is I'm going to show you how they both went against none other than Mr. Paul Lin of the USA. Now, Irakli's last performance was nothing short of outstanding. He looked not only dominant, but I would call it utterly dominant. The absolute hand control, complete and utter dominance over Paul Lin. Where Sasho really got stuck down into it, and Paul showed that he had enough horsepower to really make Sasho have to work. Now, styles do make matches. Don't forget that. When we're concluding our thoughts on who we think's going to win and all this kind of stuff, remember, styles do make matches. But anyway, just when you thought I was saying Sasho's too good, you can have a look at this. Anyway, I'm not going to give a prediction. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on the predictions. However, let us know in the comments section. This match, it's coming up very soon. You can watch it at East vs. West 12, April 20. The pay-per-view link is in the description. Guys, it's either way. It's a win-win. It's going to be an awesome match.